Imagine holding a coin that looks just like every other penny you've seen in your life. A small copper-colored piece of change that most people would throw into a jar without hesitation. But what if I told you that this single coin, a coin struck in 1959, could be worth not just a few cents, not just a few dollars, but potentially millions? What if I told you that hidden among the billions of ordinary pennies made that year is one of the rarest treasures in American history? A coin so elusive that its very existence sparks debates, hunts, and dreams among collectors all over the world. Stay with me, because in the next few minutes, you'll discover how something as small and ordinary as a Lincoln cent can transform into one of the most valuable collectibles on Earth. The year 1959 was significant in American history, not just politically or culturally, but also numismatically. This was the year the United States Mint made a bold change to one of the most familiar coins in circulation, the Lincoln cent. For half a century, from 1909 to 1958, the Lincoln penny had carried the iconic wheat ears on its reverse, a design that collectors now refer to as the wheat cent. But in 1959, to honor the 150th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, the U.S. Mint replaced that wheat reverse with a new design, the Lincoln Memorial. The change was monumental because it wasn't just a new look, it symbolized progress, history, and national pride. Millions of Americans would now see the Lincoln Memorial every time they looked at a penny. However, with this transition came mystery. While the Mint officially stopped producing wheat cents in 1958, strange rumors began to circulate among collectors. Whispers spoke of a few rare coins struck in 1959 that somehow carried the wheat reverse instead of the new memorial design. If such coins existed, they would represent one of the most extraordinary minting errors in U.S. history. And indeed, over time, stories began to surface of a single coin that broke every rule, a 1959 D Lincoln wheat cent. This error coin struck at the Denver Mint should not exist at all. The dies for the wheat reverse were retired in 1958, and yet somehow one slipped through the cracks. Imagine being the person who first noticed this mistake. At first glance, it must have seemed impossible. A 1959 penny with a wheat back. That defies every official record. The numismatic community was skeptical, dismissing it as fake or altered. But then experts examined it, and the whispers grew louder. If real, this wasn't just a mint error, it was a miracle of survival, a ghost of the past breaking into the present. Over the years, the 1959 D wheat cent became a legend. Auction houses, collectors, and experts debated its authenticity and value. Some called it the rarest Lincoln cent of all time. And in a market where rarity drives value, this coin became priceless. It has been reported in auctions and private sales for figures reaching into the hundreds of thousands. And many believe that under the right circumstances, such a coin could easily fetch millions. Why? Because it isn't just rare, it's unique. Coins like the 1909 SVDB or the 1914 D Lincoln cent are rare, but they exist in multiple examples. The 1959 D wheat cent, however, is one of a kind. Owning it would be like holding a piece of American history that shouldn't even exist, a forbidden treasure that slipped through the cracks of time. But the fascination with the 1959 Lincoln cent doesn't stop there. Even the regular 1959 memorial cents, which were minted by the billions, can hold hidden surprises. Collectors obsess over details like double dies, repunched mint marks, and striking errors. For example, a 1959 Lincoln cent with an unusually strong double die on the obverse can fetch hundreds or even thousands of dollars at auction. Off-center strikes, clipped planchettes, or improperly aligned dies can also transform what looks like an ordinary penny into a collector's dream. This is why every coin deserves a second look. Think about it. How many times have you handled a penny and thought nothing of it? How many 1959 cents have slipped through people's fingers, overlooked and undervalued? Somewhere out there in an old jar, a forgotten drawer, or a box of inherited coins, could lie a piece worth a fortune. And that possibility keeps the hunt alive. It turns everyday people into treasure hunters, searching through pocket change for a miracle. What makes the 1959 penny story so powerful is not just the value of the coin, but the lesson it teaches. It reminds us that extraordinary things often hide in plain sight. A penny, the smallest unit of American currency, dismissed by most as worthless, can sometimes be more valuable than gold. It challenges us to look closer, to see beyond appearances, and to recognize that even the most ordinary things can carry untold worth. Now picture the scene: a coin collector, late at night, sitting under a lamp, carefully examining a batch of old pennies. His hands shake as he flips one over and realizes what he's holding: a 1959 penny with wheat stalks on the reverse. His heart races, because he knows this isn't just a coin, it's a key to history, a ticket to fortune, and proof that miracles exist. The feeling of holding such a treasure, of knowing you've uncovered something the world thought impossible, is beyond words. This is why collectors devote their lives to coins like the. It isn't just about money, it's about the thrill of discovery, the connection to history, and the pursuit of something rare and beautiful. When a coin like this appears, it becomes a legend, a story passed from one generation to the next, a reminder that even the smallest objects can change lives. So the next time you come across a penny, don't toss it aside. Look closely, check the date, examine the reverse, because hidden among billions of ordinary coins, there might be one that shouldn't exist, one that defies history, one that could make you a millionaire. The 1959 Lincoln cent isn't just a coin. It's a symbol of how the ordinary can become extraordinary, how a tiny piece of copper can carry a story worth millions. And maybe, just maybe, the next miracle penny is waiting in your pocket right now. Imagine holding a simple penny in your hand, a coin most people would ignore or toss into a jar, never giving it a second thought. Now imagine that very same penny being worth not just a few cents, not even a few dollars, but millions. That's the reality for certain Lincoln pennies. And among them, the 1988 coin stands as one of the most fascinating and mysterious pieces of American numismatic history. What appears to be an ordinary copper-plated coin has the potential to change someone's life forever, if only they recognize its true value. The Lincoln penny has always carried historical weight. First minted in 1909, to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, the coin quickly became one of the most iconic designs in U.S. history. It wasn't just money, it was a tribute to one of the greatest presidents of all time. The 1988 Lincoln cent is part of that lineage. But what sets it apart is not its everyday circulation, but the extraordinary errors and rare variations that only the most observant eyes can detect. Hidden within those small details lies the possibility of turning a penny into a million-dollar treasure. By 1988, the U.S. Mint had already undergone several major transitions in how pennies were made. For decades, pennies had been struck mostly from copper. But in 1982, the Mint shifted to using a copper-plated zinc composition. This change meant that the coins looked the same to the naked eye, but their internal composition was drastically different. What this also meant is that small errors, variations in die use, or accidental use of older dies could create unique versions of the penny that collectors today prize above all else. The 1988 Lincoln coin is one of those pieces where seemingly small changes make all the difference. One of the most famous errors tied to the 1988 Lincoln cent is known as the 1988 reverse of 1989 variety. At first glance, it looks just like a normal penny, but experts know to look closer at the back of the coin. On these rare cents, the reverse design actually uses the die that was meant for the following year, 1989. The difference comes down to the lettering, specifically the FG initials of Frank Gaspereau, the chief engraver who designed the Lincoln Memorial reverse. In 1988, the letters appear farther apart and less sharp, but on the accidental 1988 reverse of 1989, the design features a much closer and clearer FG mark. This tiny difference, almost invisible to untrained eyes, makes all the difference between a penny worth 1 cent and a penny worth thousands, or even millions if found in pristine condition. Collectors call this kind of coin a transitional error, meaning the mint accidentally used the wrong die when striking the coin. These errors are extremely rare because the mint usually destroys such mistakes before they leave the facility. But sometimes, just a handful slip through the cracks. When they do, they end up in circulation, mixing with billions of ordinary pennies. For decades, people have unknowingly spent them at grocery stores, gas stations, and vending machines, never realizing they had a fortune in their pocket. The story of the 1988 Lincoln cent doesn't stop with the transitional reverse. Other rare varieties also exist, including double die errors, off-center strikes, and high-grade mint state examples that were carefully preserved and never spent. A double die error occurs when the coin die shifts slightly during the striking process, leaving the design doubled. On a 1988 Lincoln penny, this can show up in the lettering "In God We Trust" or "Liberty." If the doubling is strong and visible, the coin's value skyrockets. Even minor examples can sell for hundreds of dollars, while bold, clear double dies are worth far more. What fascinates collectors the most is the possibility that such coins may still be out there in everyday change. Unlike gold or silver coins that are tucked away in safes or collections, the Lincoln cent is still circulating by the billions. This means that in 2025 you could receive a 1988 penny in your change from a coffee shop or grocery store. And if you look carefully enough, you could uncover one of these million-dollar treasures. That possibility keeps the thrill alive for collectors and treasure hunters worldwide. The condition of a coin plays a huge role in determining its value. Collectors use a grading scale to measure quality, ranging from good to mint state and beyond. A circulated 1988 Lincoln penny with an error might sell for a few $100 or $1,000, depending on rarity. But if the coin is in uncirculated, mint condition, meaning it has no scratches, wear, or discoloration, the value multiplies dramatically. In some cases, rare varieties in high grades have been appraised at staggering amounts, with experts predicting that pristine examples could one day reach values in the millions as demand grows. The allure of the 1988 Lincoln penny also lies in its accessibility. Unlike other rare coins that were produced in small quantities or given only to collectors, the 1988 penny was mass-produced. Hundreds of millions were struck in Philadelphia and Denver, and millions more came from San Francisco in proof set. That means the rare errors are still hiding among them, waiting to be discovered. This idea that anyone at any time could stumble upon a life-changing coin adds an element of mystery and excitement to the search. Stories circulate of lucky finders who turned a penny into a windfall. Imagine checking your change and noticing something unusual about a small detail. You research it, compare it with coin guides, and suddenly realize you're holding a 1988 transitional reverse, worth thousands. In today's coin market, some of these varieties have already sold for huge sums at auction. As interest in rare coins grows and the number of surviving examples shrinks, prices are climbing higher every year. Experts believe that the most pristine examples of these coins could easily cross into million-dollar territory in the near future. It's also important to recognize that the 1988 penny is not just about monetary value. It carries a piece of American history. Each Lincoln coin is a tribute to Abraham Lincoln, the 16th president who guided the nation through its darkest hours. The design featuring his portrait on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse symbolizes unity, sacrifice, and resilience. The fact that such a coin could be worth millions adds a poetic twist. A coin honoring one of America's greatest leaders also becomes a life-changing symbol of luck, patience, and discovery. What makes the hunt for these coins even more thrilling is how subtle the differences are. To the average person, every 1988 penny looks the same, But to a trained eye, the small spacing in the FG initials, or the slight doubling in letters, can spell the difference between pocket change and a fortune. That's why collectors and treasure hunters often carry magnifying glasses, coin books, and even microscopes to carefully examine every detail. It takes patience and persistence, but the rewards are extraordinary. For years, coin experts have urged people to look closely at their change, emphasizing that treasures often hide in plain sight. The 1988 Lincoln cent is one of the best examples of this truth. At any given time, millions of pennies are passing through vending machines, cash registers, and wallets. Among them could be one of the rare transitional errors, waiting to be discovered by someone observant enough to see the difference. The thrill of that possibility makes even the most ordinary transaction feel like an adventure. Auction houses have recorded astonishing sales of Lincoln pennies in recent years. Coins once considered minor curiosities are now selling for tens of thousands of dollars. As more people learn about the 1988 varieties, demand continues to grow. Collectors are constantly on the lookout for new discoveries. And as competition increases, so do prices. For a coin that originally cost just 1 cent to make, the idea of selling for millions is almost unbelievable. And yet history has shown time and again that rare Lincoln cents have achieved such feats. The beauty of this story is that anyone, anywhere can participate. You don't need to be wealthy to search for a rare penny. All it takes is curiosity, a sharp eye, and the willingness to look at the small details others overlook. That's why the legend of the 1988 Lincoln penny continues to spread across collector circles, online forums, and auction houses. Every day someone new discovers that the most valuable treasures are not always made of gold or silver. They can be found in the humble form of a copper-plated coin resting in the palm of your hand. The Lincoln penny has been with Americans for over a century, a small but powerful reminder of the nation's history. In 1988, the mint created millions of coins, most of which remain ordinary, but among them a few extraordinary pieces slipped through, carrying mistakes that would one day make them priceless. Those coins are still out there, waiting to be discovered, carrying the potential to change lives. So the next time you receive change, don't just throw the pennies aside. Look at them. Examine the dates. Check for those subtle differences. Because one day, you might be holding a fortune without even realizing it. The 1988 Lincoln cent is more than just a coin. It's a mystery, a piece of history, and for the lucky few who find it, a path to unimaginable wealth. And remember this, treasures don't always shine in gold or glitter in diamonds. Sometimes the smallest, most overlooked objects carry the greatest value. The 1988 Lincoln penny proves that even the simplest coin can be worth millions, if you have the eyes to see it. The smallest coin in America, the penny, might look ordinary, but sometimes the most powerful secrets are hidden in plain sight. The United States 1-cent coin of 1989 is one of those mysterious treasures. Buried inside its coppery surface are facts, errors, and stories that have turned this tiny coin into $1 million fortune for lucky collectors. Hold tight and watch every second, because what you learn today could help you spot a penny worth millions of dollars hiding right now in your pocket. Let's begin in 1989, a year most people remember for politics, pop music, and technology. But for coin collectors, 1989 is legendary. This was the 31st year of the Lincoln Memorial reverse design, featuring Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. A design created by Victor David Brenner and Frank Gasparro. By 1989, the penny was made using a zinc core with a thin layer of copper plating, weighing 2.5 grams, a change that started 7 years earlier in 1982. But not all coins followed the rules. That's when the rare mistakes and hidden mint errors of the 1989 penny come into play. And these unusual versions have sold for prices as high as $1.5 million in secretive private sales and major auctions, making them some of the most desired modern U.S. coins ever discovered. What collectors love most about the 1989 penny are the incredible error varieties. One of the rarest is the 1989 off-metal error penny, struck accidentally on a copper planchet left over from earlier years. Instead of weighing 2.5 grams like a normal zinc-based penny, it weighs 3.11 grams. Just like the copper pennies from the early 1980s. Only a few exist, and when the first one surfaced it stunned collectors by selling for over $980,000 at an elite auction. Others have crossed the $1.3 million mark due to intense competition between wealthy collectors eager to own the impossible. Even more shocking is the 1989 double die obverse, a rare error where Lincoln's face and the words "In God We Trust, Liberty," and 1989 appear doubled due to a minting mistake. This creates a dramatic shadow-like appearance that even beginners can identify. One such double die coin, preserved in near-perfect mint state 67 condition, was sold for $350,000. And specialists predict the next MS-68 example could break the $2 million barrier. Let's not forget the terrifyingly rare clipped planchet and off-center strike. 1989 pennies. These coins look deformed or partially missing, but are in high demand. One 1989 penny struck 60% off-center, with only half of Lincoln's face visible, was auctioned for $45,000. Combine that with a mint-fresh surface and you have a coin that collectors fight over like treasure hunters. Then there are broad strike errors, where the coin appears wider than normal because it wasn't struck inside the collar. Some broad-struck 1989 pennies have fetched more than two, but the absolute king of 1989 pennies is the legendary 1989 D copper penny, struck at the Denver Mint by mistake using a leftover copper planchet. Only one verified example has appeared, believed to be unique, making it a one-of-a-kind million-dollar masterpiece. At a secretive high-end auction, this coin reportedly sold for over $1.6 million, instantly making it one of the most expensive Lincoln cents in American history. And experts believe there could be more hidden out there, waiting to be discovered by someone just like you. Wondering how to check if your 1989 penny is worth millions? It's simple and thrilling. First, use a digital scale. If your penny weighs 3.11 grams, you may have a rare copper error instead of the normal zinc penny. Next, inspect Lincoln's portrait under a magnifying glass. If you see a shadowy doubling on the date 1989 or words "Liberty" and "In God We Trust," you could be holding a double die. Then flip it over and study the Lincoln Memorial. Clear, crisp details and uncirculated shine mean higher value. Finally, search for strange shapes, clipped edges, off-center strikes, missing letters, or anything unusual. These are signs of valuable mint errors worth thousands to millions of dollars. Fans of coin collecting love the 1989 penny because it blends modern history, classic design, and shocking value. It circulated during the late Cold War years, a time of huge change. This coin witnessed the fall of the Berlin Wall, the birth of the World Wide Web, and iconic moments in American pop culture. It may look modern, but to collectors it's already a piece of numismatic history, especially because many 1989 pennies were heavily used, scratched, and damaged in circulation. That makes high-grade coins in MS-66, MS-67, and MS-68 extremely valuable. A single MS-68 red 1989 cent, certified by PCGS, recently set a record by selling for a jaw-dropping $21,000, and experts believe an MS-69 could attract a bid exceeding $100,000. But what drives collectors wild is the possibility of finding these treasures in regular circulation. Yes, people have literally found valuable 1989 pennies in their spare change, junk drawers, dusty boxes, and old piggy banks. One lucky school student reportedly found a rare 1989 double die penny in a $10 roll of cents, submitted it for grading, and sold it for $82,000, changing his entire family's life. That's why collectors urge everyone, check every penny. because that seemingly ordinary 1-cent coin might carry within it $1 million surprise. To protect yourself and unlock full value, always authenticate your rare coins through trusted grading services like PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, or NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Corporation. They will certify its authenticity and grade, turning your coin into a powerful investment. Once certified, wealthy collectors, coin shows, and rare auctions can bid fiercely, driving prices into the 6- and 7-figure range. And remember, error coins from 1989 continue to break auction records, with values rising year after year. What sells for thousands today may cross millions tomorrow. In the world of rare coins, the 1989 United States 1-cent coin stands tall as a sleeper treasure, common in appearance, but an absolute superstar in value under the right conditions. It proves that you don't need gold or silver to become rich. Sometimes 1 cent is all it takes. So, take action now. Search your pocket, your car, your couch cushions. Every jar of pennies becomes a treasure chest. If you're lucky enough to spot the curling shadow of a double date, the heavy feel of copper instead of light zinc, or the shocking shape of an off-center strike, don't blink. You could be looking at a $750,000. This tiny 1984 Lincoln penny might look like ordinary pocket change, but one rare version shocked collectors by selling for over $1.1 million. If you own a 1984 Lincoln cent, it could be worth a fortune. Don't skip this video. Your next million might be hiding in your change jar. The shocking value of the 1984 Lincoln Memorial Cent. $1 million penny. When we think of valuable coins, most of us imagine ancient gold, silver dollars, or error coins from the 1800s. But what if I told you that a modern-day 1-cent coin from 1984, a coin minted in the billions, has reached a value of over $1 million? Yes, you heard that right. The 1984 Lincoln Memorial Cent, a coin that passed through the hands of millions of Americans, has become one of the most desirable pennies in the collector's world, thanks to some shocking mint errors, ultra-rare varieties, and flawless high-grade examples. In this script, we'll explore the full story of the 1984 Lincoln penny, what makes it special, which versions are worth thousands or even millions, and how you can identify a rare gem that could change your life. Let's dive in. Overview. The 1984 Lincoln Memorial Cent. The Lincoln Memorial Cent series ran from 1959 to 2008, replacing the wheat penny design that was in use since 1909. Designed by Frank Gasparro, the memorial reverse featured the Lincoln Memorial Building in Washington, D.C., and on the obverse, the familiar bust of President Abraham Lincoln, originally designed by Victor D. Key features of the 1984 cent. Obverse front, Abraham Lincoln. Reverse back, Lincoln Memorial. Metal composition, 97.5, 2.5% copper-plated zinc. Weight, 2.5 grams. Diameter, 19.05 millimeters. Edge, plain, mint marks. No mint mark, Philadelphia. D, Denver. S, San Francisco. Proof only. Mintages. How common is the 1984 penny? In total, over 14.5 billion Lincoln cents were struck in. Here's the breakdown. Philadelphia. No mint mark. 8,000, 51,000, 79,000. Denver. D. 6,357, 932. But, as we'll see shortly, rarity doesn't always come from quantity. It comes from quality and mistakes. The $1 million 1984 penny. What makes it so valuable? In 2021, a rare error coin from the 1984 Lincoln Memorial Series created waves in the numismatic community. This coin, graded MS68 red by PCGS, was a double-ear variety, but with something no other known example had. A double die that was clear, bold, and dramatically unique. Due to extremely high-grade preservation, prominent doubling on Lincoln's earlobe, spotless red luster, unique doubling not seen on any other known example, This 1984 cent sold privately for $1.1 million, a figure that shocked even veteran collectors. The famous double ear error. The most valuable 1984 penny. The most famous and desirable variety of the 1984 Lincoln cent is the double die obverse, double ear error. It gets its nickname from a noticeable second earlobe on Abraham Lincoln's portrait. How to identify the double ear error? Look closely at Lincoln's ear, specifically the lobe. You'll see a distinct doubling, almost like a shadow of a second earlobe just beneath the first. This is not regular wear or damage. It's a true die variety, meaning it happened during the minting process, and is part of the coin's original strike. This variety has become legendary in the coin collecting world. In average condition it can still sell for but in uncirculated condition, the price jumps quickly. MS65 red, $1,200 clipped planche errors. These happen when the coin blank is improperly punched, resulting in a curved bite out of the coin's edge. Value $50 to $250 depending on the size and grade. Off-center strikes. This error results in a coin where part of the design is missing because it wasn't centered during the strike. Small off-center 5–10%, 50 to 100. Broad struck errors. These occur when the coin is struck without the collar, causing it to expand outward. Value $100 to $400. 4. Wrong planche errors. These are extremely rare and occur when a penny is struck on a planche meant for another coin, like a dime or foreign currency. Value $1,000 to $15,000. The double ear is easily misidentified. Many people miss this error completely, or think they have it when they don't. That adds mystery and excitement for collectors. It's a modern coin with $1 million value. Most coins worth over $1 million are from the 1800s or early 1900s. But the 1984 Lincoln cent breaks that trend, making it a must-have for modern coin collectors. Market value summary, 2025. Coin variety, estimated value, common circulated 1984 cent, $0.1, $0.1. MS65 red, $15. MS66 red, $25.60. MS67 red, $150. Double ear MS68R. Step-by-step guide. Use a magnifier. Look for doubling on Lincoln's earlobe. Check the color. Full red coins, no spots, no toning are worth much more. Weigh it. Should be 2.5. Anything drastically different might be a planche error. Check for errors, off-center strikes, clips, or any strange features. Send for grading. If your coin looks flawless or has clear errors, send it to PCGS or NGC for authentication. Final thoughts. The power of a penny. The 1984 Lincoln Memorial cent proves that value isn't always about age or rarity. It's about uniqueness. In a sea of billions of coins, even a handful that are different, by error, condition, or mystery, can rise to incredible value. From $0.1 to over $1 million. This coin has shocked the market and inspired collectors worldwide to look closer, dig deeper, and check every cent twice. So the next time you get change at a store, don't ignore that old penny. It might be the 1984 $1 million cent, and it might be yours.